So, good afternoon, everybody. Today, we are doing here the world premiere of the Inconvenient Women. We are going to tell you the story of Carlotta, a girl that loves science and the barriers she faced along her life.
Yeah, so I must add that Carlotta is Brazilian, so she may have a slight accent in English, and sometimes maybe some mistakes as well. Well, if you recognize anything that you think that's a coincidence, it's not. It's really based on real facts. So we are collecting materials all the time while talking to you. So please pay attention.
Carlotta, where's this girl? When I need her, she vanished. I bet she is in the garage of her dad, playing with the tools. I told her she will be grounded for a month if I get to her there. Ah, this girl. Yeah, where is John? I bet he's reading another novel. This boy, he needs to learn the lesson. He has to be an engineer. Carlotta, where is you, Carlotta?
Mom, I'm here. I'm actually doing a code because I want to control my protoboard and build a robot.
Oh, it's a nightmare. I told you, don't fence with machines. You can get hurt, or worse.
It's a code, Mom.
No, you can dirt all your pretty dress and spend hours and hours ironing. You are not doing that. Moreover, I told you, you want a robot? You ask to a man to do a robot. You have a flat tire, you make a guy to change the flat tire. You don't listen to anything. Wait, I'm going to call your brother. John, you are reading again period drama, novels. You are going to be grounded. If I get there and you are reading the Brontes or Jane Austen, you're silly. What do you think you're going to become? A poet? A writer? You have to be an engineer. Carlotta.
Look, so, Mom, please, let me play with the lab then.
Okay, I am a modern woman. Don't laugh. You know, I know all this WhatsApp, etc. So I went to the internet and I looked for laboratory game and put girls. And you know what? I found the only game for girls in the whole internet. How to clean the laboratory. It's a wonderful game. You're going to learn so many things. Then maybe one day, one professor is going to hire you, and then you can work, of course, until you get married, have many kids, and of course have to take care of the kids.
Yeah, so my mom is mentioning a game that's really, that's true. Yes, if you go to the internet, and if you type, at least in Portuguese, games, girl, and laboratory. The first site that appears is one site in which the scientist, a man, has made a mess in the lab, and the goal of the girl is actually to clean everything. And this is a game that's made for girls of, I don't know, about 3 years old. And so what this is telling is that, actually, since we are very, very small, we know that the space for us in the laboratory is not as a scientist.
But if you think that's only that the problem, there is this study made with 400 girls and boys, and they brought a story about a very smart person, a brilliant person. And they asked to these 5-year-old girls and boys, is this personage a male or a female? Immediately, the girl said, the smart person is a girl, and the boy is a boy. Moreover,
only 2 years later, when they repeat the experiment with girls with 7 years old, and they tell them a history about a very smart person, they associate the smart person with a man. And the guys, of course, they keep on thinking that they are the best, so they associate a smart person with a man. So actually, what the author says is that at age about 6 years old, the women lose self-confidence. And because math and science are considered as a very difficult fields, women, they don't consider themselves, let's say, able to follow those fields. And so it's already at ages of very, very young that they start feeling that they are not for that. Moreover, the same study, what they do is they do a second type of test in which they tell a history about a person that's very nice. And they ask for a girl of 5 years old, if that very nice person is a man or a woman. And the girls associate a very nice person with a girl, and a man with a man. However, only at 7 years old, 2 years later, girls associate a very nice person with a woman, and guys with a woman. So this says that we create people that think that women are not intelligent, but nice, and men are not nice, but intelligent. So actually it happens at about 6 years old, so everything is really very early. Now that Carlota survived her mom, we can ask what happens if she becomes a scientist, you know, so she's now doing her PhD. This sketch is the professor.
Carlota, where is Carlota? Terrible. Why did I hire this girl? It's always a problem. Girls in the lab are always a problem. Either they cry or they have this scary moments in the month and they all correlated. It's really a nightmare. Or then, of course, they fall in love with this, you know, handsome professor. It's always a problem, that. Carlota, where is you? Oh, she's coming.
Yeah.
The only reason I hire is because she knows how to clean the laboratory. Probably she did the video game, how to clean the laboratory.
Good morning, how are you doing?
Carlota, tell to the public what you're doing here.
Yes, today we're going to talk about a problem that is the women are underrepresented in STEM fields.
Oh, no. I told you, lack of visual memory. Pay attention. Today, we are here to tell to the public their lack of women in STEM fields.
It's exactly what I said. You know when there is an expression for that. When men explain exactly what a woman has just said, we call this man-explaining.
No. Man-explaining is not that. Man-explaining
No, please,
is...
now she's going to do man-explaining about man-explaining. No way. Please, stop with that.
My phone, ring. Hello, Luis is the president of the Brazilian Academy of Science. You want me to nominate someone, a young student, for a prize? You want this student to be brilliant, dedicated, someone that works hard in the lab? He might be myself when you have this age. I'm nominating John.
No, but I am the one who is on the head of all the projects in the lab.
But you don't understand. You're going to get married, have kids. I have to nominate someone that has...
But John has already 2 kids.
Oh, of course he has 2 kids, but then, you know, his wife takes care of the kids. That's obvious. Oh.
Yeah, so again, he has a point. Actually, I changed my peruca. I wanted to put the other one. So, okay. Oh, actually, this professor, unfortunately, is not an exception. So what happens is that women, they have to pass through many mosquito bites.
Many mosquito bites. So if you look today, the percentage of students in physics, in the STEM fields, if you add physics, chemistry, that helps a little bit, engineers, you have, in Brazil, 30% are female. However, if you go to the doctoral positions, when you are PhD students, this number that goes from 30 to 20%. And if you go further to researchers, it goes to 11%. And if you go further to the Brazilian Academy of Science, it goes to 7%.
Yeah, so, and actually we can ask why more women in science. And one of the answers is that there are no people in science. The numbers in Brazil are really horrible. If I take 1,000 people, young people from 25 years old up to 34, if I take 1,000 people, 22 have a grad course in STEM fields. This number is really small if you compare with some other countries, as for example, South Korea. This number in South Korea is 10 times higher than in Brazil. So actually, if you want to develop Brazil, we need more people in science. And of course, among those 22, only 8 are women. Then the deficit is higher for women. So it's why we need more. It's one of the reasons we need more women. But actually, we can wonder why you have so few people in science. And one of the reasons is maybe because the society does not value this. And so we are going to show to you one situation that really happened, not in Brazil actually, but then we tell you.
What a party! Hello! So many people in this baby shower that we don't know who you are.
Yeah, my name is Carlota, and you, what's your name?
My name is Jennifer.
Ah, so where did you meet Claire?
I met Claire because at that point we are both working in a bank. But then I read one of the Paulo Coelho book and I found my way through life.
Oh, really? What you're doing now?
I do master in luxury.
Really? What do you mean, master in luxury? What do you do?
I study luxury cars, luxury hotels, luxury wardrobe. I study also jewelry, because if the devil wears Prada, God only uses Louis Vuitton.
Fantastic field, indeed.
And what do you do?
I do a PhD in physics.
Physics? Like physics equations. I do Pilates.
No. Well, actually, not really. You know physics that you learned at school?
At school, that stuff have any use for that? Looks for me pretty useless.
Yeah, look, so let me give you an example. You know, if you want to sell a diamond for your luxury customers, it needs to be a pure diamond, right? Then, if you want to show them that it's a pure diamond, you need to show them that they have some properties, right, this material. And then all those properties come from the fact that the atoms inside of the diamonds have a given position. And how do you know the position? We know because we do crystallography, which is pure science.
Wow, so science is a luxury.
Yeah. Well, actually, not only, my colleague just left, but you forgot that I had to tell you more things about science, you know. So actually, it's quite amazing that you need to explain for people, not only the one that do luxury, because, well, it's an option, but actually in this given part, that it really happens to me when I was doing a PhD in France. There was so many women around, and everybody was explaining what they did. It was like a medicine or engineering sometimes, which was rare, but it happened. Someone was working in the bank, and I was the only one who was obliged to explain why I was doing a PhD in physics. You know, we have a society that depends deeply on technology and don't know why is important science. And so this is actually a problem that you need to bypass if you want to attract more people into science.
Moreover, many times, when women are invited to talk in TV shows about what they do, they go to these shows that's called weird professions, because it's supposed not to be a profession for the women.
Yeah. And then, but we can come back to why we need more women in science then. Yeah. So we have some studies that show why diversity is interesting.
So McKinsey, that's an enterprise that connects all the big companies. They listed all the 500 largest companies in the world. And they, you know, but first place, the one that have more diversity, last place, the one that have least diversity. What I found is that the top quartile in this list, they make 40% more than the bottom quartile. And you can imagine that immediately people start, in companies, start to try to find more women to have in this board of directions or CEOs of the companies. Nowadays, there are companies specialized to find women for leadership. Unfortunately, that does not happen in science, but it does already happen in the economic world because actually diversity means money.
Right. And then, of course, there are other kinds of diversity. You don't need to, well, we are just mentioning women, but there are black people and different regions which are not present in science. But there are other reasons why you need women in science and diversity in science, not only financial reasons. We need women in science because science is supposed to solve problems. And if you want to have different views about the same problem, or if you want to have different problems, you need to have diversity. And nowadays, we all know that science is made by men, white, and basically European. So science is really not diverse. But let's think about that now. Carlota bypassed her mom. Carlota has bypassed her professor, and then the society, and now she became a senior scientist. But as Marcia was telling you, people keep on leaving science. Women keep on leaving science, even when they already had. And now we have to understand why this happens. And so we are going to show you a little bit of our, let's say, our thing that happens to you every day. That's the sketch of the colleague.
Stupid student. Zero. Zero. Bad high school here. Girl, she went well. She might be doing some funny things here. I'm going to check in the next exam with whom she's sitting. That's suspicious. Suspicious. Let me check what Carlota is doing. Stupid stuff.
Hello.
Hello, dear colleague. You might be very happy because the corridor is all flourish.
What do you mean?
Many of cute girls in the starting semester.
A kind of a comment that's completely unnecessary. You know that you must be afraid of being accused of sexual harassment?
This world is becoming unbearable because you cannot say anything about women, gays, blacks, whatever. Then people get surprised when people vote for Trump. We are rebelling against this politically correct.
John, can we be more civilized? Let's discuss in a way that if we were both grown people, right? So let me ask you if you see any advantage in having more women in science.
Of course. You go to a conference, you go to the poster session, all these pretty girls presenting posters. It's a blessing. It's very nice. It's very colorful. Moreover, they use dresses that have color, but becomes very
John, you are embarrassing yourself. Look, at this moment, when you receive those kind of answers, you have at least two kind of possibilities. Either you answer with a harsh answer, and then you are classified as a hysterical feminist.
Bitch.
Or you can smile, like a yellow smile, and you kind of perpetuate the joke, which is not a joke. But then you're not going to fight all the time. Then you try to be civilized and be pedagogical. Okay, so let's come back. Don't you think that actually it would be any advantage in having more women in science? You think that it would be interesting that? But you think that, I forgot what I would say actually. No, I would say that.
I know why there is. They think they know. Do you know why women are not in physics? Because it's hard, it's difficult, and they don't want to get there.
And then you say again, this smile, and you ask, okay, so why I'm here then? Am I a ghost? Because I'm a woman, I'm in science.
No, you're different. You think like a man.
Third time that you have to laugh. and say, okay, that's a good point. You finally had a good point, which is very hard. But actually, let's enjoy that. So if you think that I think like a man, what would be the profile of a woman in science?
Have to be smart, have to be outgoing, have to be a leader, have to be able to give good speech, good classes, write good papers.
Yeah, that's quite funny because if you look around our colleagues, most of them, or many of them, they don't know how to explain science. And some of them, they cannot even look at the students' eyes. And then they are admired by you and other colleagues. You know?
Me, feminazi, help me.
So Marcia, please come back because John is difficult. Well, actually, this is what we call as the mosquito bites of our everyday life.
Yeah, but you know that people say, it's just a mosquito bite. What a matter? A little comment today, a little comment tomorrow. What's going to change in your life? However, there is this study made in the United States with 200,000 people. Let me repeat, 200,000 people, in which they try to identify when they have ambition. Where do you have ambition? How much ambition do we have?
Yes, because actually there is a myth that says that women do not go to upper level of the career because they don't want to. They would prefer to stay at home. They would prefer to concentrate in family. And actually, that's really not what happens if you quantify this.
So in this study, they show that in the early career women, they have the same ambition as the same ambition. However, when you measure the women at the late career, they give up totally. They don't have the same ambition. It's just because of the maternity, husband, is the environment, is the colleagues, is the addition of every single day mosquito bites. And be prepared because we are preparing a similar questionnaire for Brazil. So be in tune, that is coming up soon.
Yeah, but we can maybe talk about some actions that are being made to change the scenario. And in Brazil, we had some years ago, because now we have anything more in terms of money for anything. But we had an open edital. I don't know how to say this in English, but open proposals. Yeah. And if you had any project to work with women in science, we would have money for that. And then many people tried different projects. And one of those projects, the one that I do coordinate in South Brazil, which is called Meninas na Ciência. And in this project, we do many different things, actually. We bring science in the schools, we bring girls into the university, we discuss gender, we discuss numbers. Well, we do really a lot of things, a lot of small actions in this project.
This particular call proposal didn't brought like a lost seed. It came up as a consequence, a hard work of women's group all over the country. The women's group in physics, the diverse gender groups at the different parts of the society. And we are able, by bugging the CNPq, to erase a number of issues. One of the biographies of the first women in science that's posted in the CNPq webpage. Another one is the biographies of very young but leadership women in science. And one was to bring up this project that reaches very young girls, the girls that are being lost because the mom or the professor didn't treat them well. This project, even though the government stopped the money for that, was so good that private funding, like the bank Itaú, start to put in diverse funds have been putting money on that. Another action that's this mobilization of this different group managed is that nowadays we have maternity leave for the master, PhD, postdoc, and the researchers of CNPq in CAPES. This didn't come for free. This came because we have a lot of actions.
Yeah, so one of the actions that we decided to do in this project was that we know from many different researchers that one of the problems is that women do not go into science because they do not have a model for that. They don't see women there, so they do not go there. And then we decided to create small videos where we interview people in science, or not only in science, but in STEAM fields. In the first year of the project, we were interviewing senior scientists, senior famous scientists, or senior women that were working in the enterprises. And we want to give you a flavor of what was those interviews in the first year of the project. So I'm going to interview a famous scientist now. But Carlotta, then let me put Carlotta again. So, good morning, dear professor.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Great.
So we were doing this project because we want to interview women that have success in science, just to make some models, build some models for girls. So could you tell us, to those girls, if you had some obstacles during your career, let's say because you were a woman?
No,
you are a woman.
No way. In science, it's just talent. You have to have talent, and then you achieve whatever you want. Hard work and talent.
That's interesting. You never felt any sexual, harassment, nothing like this?
No. I am a person that knows how to dress yourself. I'm not does that colorful miniskirts, etc. So I know how to behave. So use some very wide trousers and some, T-shirt, and they might not even know that you are a woman, and that will be a blessing.
That's nice. It's interesting. And do you feel that you never felt any more of a harassment, let's say when you did a competition, seminars, or things like this?
No, science is not about this. It's about merit. Of course, there's this time, but it's just a mosquito bite, in which I was doing this competition for become full professor. And when I won, everybody told that I won because I was a woman. But it's mosquito bite. There's another time in which I was discussing with a colleague. He lost the discussion and blamed my perfume for that. But again, it's just a mosquito bite. It's nothing. You just pass one thing after the other like that.
That's very, very interesting for you girls in science. It's very good, your speech for them. But concerning your family, we know that you had 2 kids and that you could conciliate family and work and the science. How could you do this?
It's easy. In Brazil, everybody have a maid. So, give birth, then you give the kids to the maid, and that's it. You're working like, a week later, like the woman for Yahoo. Remember her? 1 week later, she was working. So it's a similar thing.
All the women can have a maid. That's really the reality, That's easy and very, very cheap. And we know that your husband was as well a scientist, and so he was helping you at home.
Oh, he helps when he can. When he's not traveling, playing soccer, drinking beer, watching Netflix, video games, and snoring. He's occasionally watch the girls in the playground.
That's very nice, a very, very, very interesting life, It's easy to become a person like Marcia, this famous scientist, because it's just you have to have a maid, a man that participates a lot, and have merit, it's all. And so, Marcia, no, this famous scientist, it's not Marcia, was actually let's say, the perfect example of what we were interviewing in the first year. The women of this, I would not say old generation, it would be like young for longer. They actually don't recognize, well, except we interviewed Marcia and the other, and Mariani. It was the only 2 that mentioned machismo in the interview. All the others was like, no, science is pure merit. But the good news is that then we decided to interview younger women. And they were, let's say, that were doing, still in the grad courses or doing doctor, PhD or masters. And then women that was already at the school, but they intending to do STEM fields. And in this year, we are interviewing Black women and transgender women in this project. And the good news is that younger generation, they are completely different. They do recognize the place of women. They say that the place of women is where they want to be. So they are aware of what's going on. I don't know if it's going to be transformed in actions, but actually, we have a hope that things are going to change because they behave in a different way.
So what are the actions that are required? So I have my 3 favorite fixes. The first fix is fix the data. We need to have numbers about the percentage, what they are, what happens, and to track that. Something that in some place has been a battle to get. When I first got involved with that at IUPAP, we gathered 75 countries, and most of the countries at that time didn't have data. Nowadays they are getting data because we create groups to do that. So it's the first fix. Once you have the data, we have to fix the institutions. We have to fix the institutions that were recognized by this study with 200,000 people that are the problem. It's the mosquito bites that have to stop, not only because of dengue and Zika, but because we are pushing back women for being in science. And surprise, surprise, we shall fix science. Because even though the scientific method is a method, the scientists are human, and they are the ones selecting the problems. And if you exclude whole portions of the population from this decision, you end up having a science that does not look for the specific points. Let me give just one example. When they first developed the medications for the heart, they only did the test trials with men. Happens that didn't work properly for the women. They didn't think about that. They didn't put that. Once they start to do test trials with women as well, they discovered that the dose, the type of the medications have to be different. So having someone with this ability of looking from a different cultural perspective is very important.
Right, so we are now open for questions. If you want to comment, I don't know, give us some feedback, and or making part of this. We are collecting data from now on, so please.
So thank you very much.